What's up, everybody? It's me, Dessa, back with another review of my favorite show, The Walking Dead. First off, spoiler alert, if you have not watched episode 3, Four Walls and a Roof, you might want to turn this off and go watch it and then come back and check me out later. First off, did I call it or did I call it? Bob got bit. Yes, he did. I knew he'd gotten bit. And it was so fun watching him tell Gareth, who's standing over top of him, just munching, all his friends just munching on his leg, talking about, oh, you taste better than I thought you would. Oh, and they just going to town on his leg, and they're telling him what we're going to do to your group. We're going to do this to Sasha. Oh, and the pretty ones taste better. And the women taste better. We're going to do this. Oh, I can't wait. And he's steady talking. And Bob at first is crying, of course. They chopped off the man's leg. They're eating his leg. They're talking about what they're going to do to his girlfriend. So, of course, he gets upset. But then the more he thinks about it, you know how Bob is. Bob is on that positive tip. He's like, okay, they're sitting here and they don't even realize it. And he starts laughing and they're like, oh, he's losing it. And the girl's like, well, he held on longer than I thought he would. Well, looky here. Bob starts cracking up and he says, y'all don't even get it. Don't even get it at all. Y'all eating tainted meat. And he pulls off his shirt and shows where he's gotten bit. Like I told you last week, he got bit. You could tell by the look on his face that he got bit. So that was cool. Of course, they start spitting out the meat like that's going to do something. You already been snacking on it. You chewed it. You swallowed it. You did everything. So now they're like, what are we going to do, Term? Why didn't you check them first? Why are you eating people? Hey, you ain't got to eat people. Don't talk about you hungry. You ain't got to eat people. You eating people because you want to eat people. Back in the day when everything was okay, you were probably fantasizing about eating people. Now you got your chance to eat people. You don't just evolve, as he said, we devolve. You didn't devolve. You just went and did what you wanted to do in the first place. Those people wanted to eat people in the first place. So that was pretty cool watching that. Of course, it cuts to Sasha. She's running around the woods looking for Bob. Bob. Sneaking around the woods looking for him. She realizes that they're being tracked, so they go back to the church. Gabriel's just in there doing what he normally does, kind of hiding from himself, hiding from what he's done. And Sasha goes up to him, what did you do? And they're all in his grill, all in his face, trying to, just make him feel worse, make him think, because they think he has something to do with Daryl missing and Carol missing and Bob missing. So they're all up in his face, and then Rick grabs him by the throat, which, by the way, just let me back up a little bit. Last week when they first encountered Gabriel, yes, Gabriel takes them back to his church, and they start telling him what to do. Now, granted, we know that something's kind of shady with Gabriel, but Rick wouldn't have that. You're not going to come in my place and tell me what I'm going to do. And that's what he does with Gabriel. They basically go back to his house and start telling him what to do. They make him go in the basement. Yeah, he needed to go in the basement to help get the food because he's going to want to eat it. But if he didn't want, that should have been his choice. If he didn't want to go in that basement, he shouldn't have went in that basement. Rick's, you're going with us. I told you, you're going with us. Well, look, I don't want to go in that basement. If I wanted, I knew that food was there all along. If I really wanted to go in that basement, I'd have gone to that basement. I didn't want to go in that basement. So it's kind of funny how Rick is now telling this dude what to do when he would not accept that kind of treatment from anybody. If somebody come to the farm and said, look here, this is what you gonna do, Rick and his group would have shot up everybody, cut them all up. So no, I ain't knowing none of that. So it's kind of funny watching him just tell Gabriel what to do and then make Gabriel confess his sins to him. He ain't had to confess his sins to him. That's right, he can tell his sins to God. That's who he needs to tell his sins to. He does not have to tell his sins to Rick and his people. Look, yeah, y'all saved me off of the rock with the zombies, but I don't have to tell you nothing. Just like, ain't none of them, Carol ain't telling what she did to Lizzie. People tell him what they want to tell. If Gabriel wanted to tell you, he had to tell you. He ain't got to confess it to you. But it's just kind of weird watching Rick do that. Yeah, and I love Rick and all of them to death, and I know they're trying to survive, but so is other people. We can't just look at our folk and say it's okay for them to do wrong is wrong. Some of these things Rick is doing to Gabriel is wrong. Yes, we know that Gabriel locked the folk out, and of course he confesses to that after Rick jacks him up. What did you do? Tell it. And poor Gabriel, he just starts crying. He knows he's going to burn for this, as they wrote on the side of the church. He knows that. And he don't need you making him feel worse, but at least he let them know, look, I ain't got nothing to do with your people missing. I got my own demons to worry about. I'm not adding your people to the list. So he just goes on, he tells him, he cries, he curls up and cries and everything. And you kind of feel sorry for the dude. You know, he shouldn't have locked those people out. He knows that now. He was scared. But you should have opened the door. Because when you were up on that rock and zombies were all around you, who was howling for help? So, but again, it's still his choice. It's all about choices. So, when he finally tells what happens, you know, they realize what's going on. Then somebody goes, and they go outside, and Bob's laying on the ground. Okay, you know this is a setup, because when you come out, they could have, the terminus folk could have come out and shot them. So you know they put Bob out there for a reason. They're coming back, they're setting you up for something else. So they drag Bob inside, and they're going to try to Sasha's like, he's in pain, go get him some medicine. And I'm like, don't waste that medicine on that man. And then Bob says the same thing. Don't waste it. And then he shows them the bite mark, and he tells them, you know, he got bit at the food bank and everything, which is, I mean, it's really, really sad. You love Bob. At first, Bob got on my nerves, but he had a problem. He was an alcoholic, trying to deal with everything that was happening. So, okay, but then he got himself together, and he's the most positive dude, you know, looking at everything. So, looking at everything in a positive way. So, I like Bob. I'm going to miss Bob. So, and like Glenn said, that, you know, we were trying to figure out, well, how long is it going to take him to turn? And like Glenn reminded us of Jim. Like I said, Walker bit Jim. Walker got him. You know, so he had, 3 days? I think he said 2 to 3 days or something like that before they left him, before he was going to turn. So, you know, but at least he didn't go through all that suffering that Jim went through. Remember, Jim was in a lot of pain. I mean, they were riding, and he couldn't even take the pain, the ride. So that's why he said, just prop me up against a tree, and I'll see you guys in the afterlife, hopefully. Anyway, so they figure out, okay, we're being watched, but they also think, and they learn that Daryl and Carol drove off because Gareth, because he's always talking, always running his mouth. He's like the typical criminal that's got to talk before he does anything, and that's how he gets killed, you know, all that talking that he does. So, because he doesn't listen, he just, I'm Gareth, and I know everything, and so just listen to me talk about myself and what I'm going to do to you. And so they learned that that Carol and Daryl drove off in a car. So they're like, okay, something's not right. We gotta stay here and find out where they are. We're not leaving. But Abraham's like, look, we are going to D.C. We can't be worried about these folk. We got a bigger issue. We got to get to D.C. We have to get to D.C. so we can get this cure for everybody. And Rick's like, no, we're not going. We're not leaving without our people. And Abraham's like, well, we leaving. So he tells Eugene, okay, you got to get up. Come on, let's go. Eugene's like, I don't want to go. And then he's like, come on, okay. So you kind of like, what's up with Eugene? You know, you're a grown man. And Abraham puts his father's voice on, get up, boy, get up from that table, what I tell you. Okay. So he goes on and goes. Well, he's got to go. So then Rick's like, you're not taking the bus. And I'm going, and Abraham says, well, we fixed the bus ourselves. Rick's like, you're not taking. But I'm like, okay, you should let that man take that bus. You didn't fix the bus. Y'all were going to D.C. He told you what his plan was. Okay, your people got taken. I'm sorry about that, but we got to get this man to D.C. so we can save the whole world. You can stay back here and save your friends, which is fine. And I totally agree. I totally understand. Rick has to stay there and wait for Daryl and Carol to come back. They got to. But this man has another agenda. Just like Rick wants to go his way, it's either my way or no way. I mean, Abraham had his own group. So they fixed the bus. Let him have the bus. And especially when Glenn says, I will go with you if you help us. Rick should have said, no, go on and take your bus. We got this. But see, Rick is kind of stubborn. He still got that, you know, those ways about him that makes him do crazy things that don't make any sense. They don't want to split up. But you're going to fight this man rather than let him go on out the door. Let him go out the door. Y'all got this. You can handle this. No need to be fighting with Abraham and his group. Let them go. So everybody can stay together. But no, Rick's going to fight everybody. He's so Mr. Tough Dog. Him and Abraham going to duke it out in the church. Okay, do your thing. But they shouldn't have had to split up like that. So they stay. They say, okay, we're going to help you guys out. And then after that, we are out. We are going to D.C. So then, what's the young lady's name? She comes up with an idea. She says, I got an idea. So I'm thinking, okay, now they're doing these crazy things. They leave out of the church. Everybody's gone. Except for Carl, of course the baby, Rosetta, Tyrese, who don't want to kill nobody, and Gabriel, right? They're all in the church. And Rick and all the good fighters, all the people that's going to kick some butt have left. I mean, Carl will kick some butt too. Carl ain't playing, but he's still a little boy. He still doesn't understand he's a kid, and he's like most kids, don't understand I'm a kid. So he goes out there. They all go out there, and you watch the screen. It's kind of weird because you see Rick and his folk go off in one direction, and a few minutes later, here come the Terminus people. You're like, oh Lord, they just set them up. They waited for them to come after them. That's why they let Bob. Of course, like I said, you know that was a setup from the get-go. They let Bob tell them where they are. Rick and them going to head out there and attack them, and they're not going to be there. They're coming straight to the church. So they come to the church, and of course there's this big A on the church that I guess the termites put that on there. And I'm going, okay, this church is getting a whole lot of graffiti. You'll burn for this, and now there's this big A on the side of the church. So they go inside the church, and of course Gareth is talking smack like he always does. Come on out! You're making this don't make this more painful than it has to be. I'm saying to you, if you come out, I'm still going to eat you, but I won't make it as painful. If you come out, I'm going to eat you. Why would I just come out? Stop hiding. Why? You sound like a fool. Just come on out. Sure. You come in here, and you can tell he's scared because he doesn't know what to do. Because they're used to being in control. They're used to putting people in the tankers, kind of like when they first came to get Rick and his group, and they knew that they were in there planning to set to attack them. So they threw the tear gas. They came in from the roof and threw the tear gas in the truck, in the tanker, in the truck, and all that stuff. So that they couldn't do anything. So and so I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not coming out this room. We know you're in here. Oh yeah, you do, and we know you out there. That's why we ain't coming out. So don't stop making me think you're gonna do me a favor if I come out. Then they tell Gabriel, I'll let you and the baby walk out. No, you won't. No, you won't. I got to be a fool. So Gabriel doesn't say anything. Nobody says anything. Of course, then the baby cries out. Ah! You're like, oh crap. And he's like, oh yeah, I can't. And so basically, he's like, I'm gonna eat her. I like her. Because she tells where they are. But as soon as they start to turn, two of them men get shot. Pow, pow. So all right, Rick and them ain't crazy. But I kind of figured that after I said, nah, Rick ain't that stupid. Not now. I mean, they wouldn't make him revert back to being real stupid again. Doing real stupid things. So they come back and they shoot the two guys, and then Rick comes out, and Gareth is saying, we got guns, we'll do this. And Rick's just like, pow, pow. Shoots his fingers. He's howling. Ah! And it cracks me up with these people because they do all this killing, maiming people. I mean, they cut Bob's leg off and set him up, basically snacking on him. And when things happen to them, then they want to cry and hoop and howling. And then Martin gonna stand up all big and bad like, I got a choice. And Abraham's like, do you? Do you really think you have a choice? So he puts down his gun. They start talking. Gareth is like, again, he got to talk. Mr. Motormouth. Man, I wanted Rick to shoot him just so he'd shut up. And at first I'm like, okay, Rick, just kill these people. Please just kill these people. There's nothing to talk about. Kill them. So Rick, Gareth is talking and he's doing his normal thing. Then he says, if you let us go, it don't have to be like you let us go, we'll never cross paths again. But like Rick said, it's not just us. And just like you said, you told Bob, it's not just you. We would have done this to anybody. And it's kind of like Carol. She had to kill Lizzie because Lizzie's not going to just stop at killing her little sister. Lizzie's going to kill everybody because Lizzie's just like that. Gareth and his crew are just like that. They just want to kill people. They want to kill people and eat them. So no, I can't leave you alive. And then like Rick says, I made you a promise. So he takes out that machete, starts hacking him up. Whop. So then everybody starts going to town, and Sasha goes to town on them. I mean, Sasha's just killing. I mean, the dude's already dead. She's still getting, take away my boyfriend, even though he was going to die anyway. But okay, yes, he got bit. But you ain't had no right to cut off his leg and do what you did to him. Plus, you were going to eat me. You were going to eat all of us. You were going to eat anybody that comes across your path. You're going to eat anybody that comes across your path. So They all had to die. Of course, Gabriel's all freaking out because all this killing's being done in his church, and that's when he says, this was this was the Lord's house, and this is God's house, and now, it's just 4 walls and a roof. But it turned that. It had. I'm hoping that I'm thinking that he's saying that even before they came, even before all that killing, that church, once he refused to open those doors, and those people died, and calling his name, that's when the church became just 4 walls and a roof. So you kind of feel sorry for him. So now, okay, so they kill everybody. Then, the funny thing is, again, Tyrese doesn't want to go out and kill anybody. He wants to stay there. And Sasha's like, look, all right, take this knife, and if he stops breathing, you just put it in his skull, because that's what he would want. So when after all the killing and everything, the next day, Sasha's with Bob, and Bob is being his normal, characteristic, positive self. He's smiling. He's just an awesome character. I'm gonna miss him, because you need that positivity. You need that person that helps you look at life a different way, not in a distorted way, not in a disillusional way, but a way to say, okay, something that you always need hope to keep going. And so Bob was that. And so I'm gonna miss Bob. So when he finally dies, Sasha, at first she's thinking, okay, I'll be able to do this, and then she can't, and Tyrese knows it, so he comes in, his big brother comes in, and he sends his sister out, and he does the killing, and you see Tyrese's point. He doesn't want to just just kill people, but in a way, he's not just killing people. He's defending himself. If he doesn't kill people, eventually he is going to die. But you see him do this wonderful thing for his sister, and for Bob, and for himself, because he doesn't want to see Bob turn and have to put him down after. So that was really touching. So bye Bob, I'm gonna miss you. Michonne, my girl, gets her katana back. She's got her katana back, and she, at first she's looking at it, and she needs it. She may not at first. She may not want it, because it reminds her of an old life, but she needs it. She needs it to defend herself. And like Bob said, the nightmares end, but they don't have to end who you are. And that portion of this nightmare has ended, and it doesn't end who Michonne is. So she can take her katana back and cut up people like she needs to defend herself. So that's pretty cool. Later on in the night, Michonne is sitting on the steps, and then Gabriel comes out, and he starts talking to her about hearing those people call his name, and he can't get those voices out of his head. And she says they'll stop. She said they won't stop. She said you'll always hear them, but pretty much not as much as, you won't hear them all the time. They'll come, and you just got to do something else to make them go away. So then they hear something in the woods. Gabriel, characteristic of Gabriel, jumps up and runs in the church. I'm like, don't lock that door. So he runs in the church. Michonne starts walking out. I'm like, okay, Michonne, I know you bad and everything. I know you got your katana back, but why are you going out in the woods by yourself? You need to go run to the door and say, hey, yo, Rick, yo, somebody out here. Come on. No, she keeps going. So she goes out there, and Daryl pops out of the bushes. But Daryl has this look on his face like, crap. And Michonne smiles, and she's all happy to see him and everything, but she's like, well, where's Carol? And he's like, come on out. That's not Carol. Or if it is Carol, somebody's got a gun to her head. So the question is, who's in those woods? Who has them? What's going on? And of course, with the preview that they put up after this, is what happened to Beth. That's what we're going to deal with next week. What happened to Beth? It doesn't look like she's in a good place, unless she's having these bad dreams or something. Doesn't look like she's in a really good place. So, but it was a really good episode. A lot of action, a lot of suspense, a lot of fun, a lot of tear-jerking moments. I think you'll like it if you haven't watched it already. And I think that's it for me. I will see you guys next week. And of course, as I always say, stay alive.